What is up, Patriots, and happy Friday. This is O'Connor's Quick Strike, and I'm John O'Connor. 3 stories the mainstream media won't cover, or will completely twist beyond recognition, delivered in roughly 15 minutes or so. No fluff, no BS, no filler. Just the unvarnished truth, peppered with my own take on what's really going on. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As always, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and or follow button. I know. Asking you to subscribe is about as popular as asking someone to read the terms and conditions. But here's the thing. Every single one of those taps helps algorithms actually show this content to people instead of burying it under cat videos and TikTok dances. So, do me a solid. Today is Friday, November 22nd, and I've got 3 stories that expose the absolute nightmare of Biden's open borders and the predators, both foreign and domestic, who are exploiting it. We are starting with the FBI's war against a child predator network called 764 that most Americans have never heard of. Then we're talking about Biden releasing a wanted terrorist into America who ended up driving an 18-wheeler on your highways. And we are closing with a Democrat senator's staffer who committed fraud to try and free a 4-time deported illegal alien from ICE custody. Let's get into it. 3. Patriots, I need you to pay attention to this story. Because while the mainstream media obsesses over political soap operas, there's a predator network operating right now, and most Americans have never heard of it. It's called the 764 Network. And FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino posted about it earlier this week, highlighting 2 major arrests that just went down. Here's what 764 is. It's a loosely organized international network of online predators. They target vulnerable children on Discord, Telegram, Roblox, platforms your kids probably use. They befriend these kids. Then they blackmail them into committing acts of self-harm, violence, animal abuse, and even suicide. And they make these kids live stream it so other members can watch. FBI Director Kash Patel called it modern-day terrorism. And he's not exaggerating. This week, Dan Bongino announced 2 major operations. In Baltimore, federal agents arrested suspects connected to 764 for targeting children. In Arizona, they arrested another affiliate who allegedly went after kids aged 11 to 15. 11 years old. The charges include distribution of child pornography, cyber stalking, animal crushing, and get this, conspiring to provide material support to terrorists. Let me tell you how sick these people are. They find vulnerable kids online. They elicit private information and sexual images from them. Then they use that material to blackmail the victims into mutilating themselves or committing violence, all while live streaming it so other predators can watch and torment the child even more. According to experts, the main goal of 764 is to sow chaos and destroy society. These aren't just pedophiles. They are chaos-driven extremists who want civilization to collapse. The network was founded in 2021 by a 15-year-old kid in Stephenville, Texas, named Bradley Cadenhead. The group is named after part of his zip code, 764. Cadenhead is now serving an 80-year prison sentence for child pornography crimes. But the network he curated has metastasized around the world. Here's what should terrify every parent in America. The FBI is now investigating 350 cases related to 764 across all 50 states. That's up from 250 investigations back in May. In 6 months, they opened 100 new cases. This thing is growing. And yet, almost nobody has heard of it. 3 weeks ago, a 13-year-old boy named Jay Taylor live-streamed his own suicide after members of 764 pushed him to do it. His parents, Colby and Leslie Taylor, described what happened as almost biblical in its definition of evil. Jay was struggling with mental health during the pandemic, trying to make friends online. These predators took advantage of his loneliness and insecurities, which drove him to kill himself while they watched. And last week, The FBI arrested a 21-year-old man in New Jersey who had allegedly tried to blackmail teenage girls into sending sexually explicit images while also planning ISIS-style terrorist attacks inside the United States. He had stockpiled zip ties, body armor, ski masks, and books about bomb making at his home. 4 months ago in Detroit, a federal prosecutor nearly broke down in tears, describing the brutal animal torture videos that another 764 member had promoted online. Experts estimate that as many as 10,000 people around the world are actively engaged in 764 and related networks. 10,000 predators hunting for vulnerable children on the platforms your kids probably use every day. Since 2020, authorities have arrested 191 members of 764 or affiliated groups in 28 different countries for sextortion, possession of child sexual abuse material, or violent attacks. The FBI has classified 764 as a Tier 1 threat, the highest danger category. That puts it on the same level as ISIS and Al-Qaeda in terms of priority. This is a threat to national and economic security. And I've got to ask, where's CNN? Where's MSNBC? Where's the wall-to-wall coverage? No, they are too busy with political theater to tell parents that there is an international predator network targeting their children. Here's what makes this even more dangerous. 764 isn't really one group anymore. It's become an ideology. There are dozens of offshoots and splinter groups using different names to evade law enforcement and social media companies. They operate on encrypted platforms, they coordinate internationally, and they are evolving. Matt Kreiner, who runs the Institute for Countering Digital Extremism, said it's hard to put into terms the actual scope of what we are dealing with. This is a global network of sadistic predators, and most Americans don't even know it exists. Parents, listen to me. You need to know what platforms your kids are on. You need to monitor their online activity. You need to have conversations about online predators, because these monsters are out there right now, hunting for their next victim. The FBI is doing what it can, but they can't be everywhere. This requires parents to be vigilant and aware. And the mainstream media, they need to do their damn job and actually report on threats to American children instead of obsessing over political gossip.
2.
Now let's talk about another national security nightmare, courtesy of Joe Biden's open border disaster. On November 9th, ICE agents arrested a 31-year-old man named Akhor Bazarov in Kansas. He was driving an 18-wheeler as a commercial truck driver. Here's the problem. Bazarov is from Uzbekistan, and Uzbekistan issued an arrest warrant for him back in 2022 for being a member of a terrorist organization. He's accused of distributing terrorist propaganda calling for jihad online and recruiting terrorists to join the jihad movement. So, begs the question, how did a wanted terrorist end up driving a massive truck on American highways? Because Joe Biden let him in. Bazarov crossed the border illegally in February 2023. U.S. Border Patrol caught him. And then following Biden's policies, they released him into American communities. Then, in January 2024, the Biden administration gave him work authorization, official permission to work in America, and Pennsylvania, under Governor Josh Shapiro, issued him a commercial driver's license. A wanted terrorist, released by Biden, given work papers, given a CDL, driving in an 18-wheeler in America. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin didn't mince words. Not only was Bazarov a wanted terrorist released into the country by the Biden administration, but he was also given a commercial driver's license by Governor Shapiro's Pennsylvania. This should go without saying, but terrorist illegal aliens should not be operating 18-wheelers on American highways. She continued, Biden and Mayorkas allowed countless terrorists to come into our country. President Trump and Secretary Noem unleashed ICE to target these national security threats. End quote. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen this pattern. Remember back in October? The FBI arrested, and I'm going to blow this again, Mahmoud Amin Yaqub al-Muhtadi, a 33-year-old Hamas operative who participated in the October 7th terrorist attacks on Israel. Where did they find him? Working at a restaurant in Lafayette, Louisiana. Al-Muhtadi entered the U.S. under Biden in 2024 after lying on his visa application, saying he'd never been involved in terrorist activity. The FBI says he participated in the attack in Kibbutz Kfar Aza, where 60 people were killed. He called the massacre a game. And Biden let him in. He was living in Louisiana for over a year before they finally caught him. So now we've got a pattern. Hamas terrorists working at restaurants, Uzbek terrorists driving trucks, both let in by Biden's open border policies, both given work authorization, both roaming freely in American communities. How many more are out there that we haven't caught? The arrest of Bozorov comes as the Trump administration is cracking down on states issuing commercial driver's license to illegal immigrants. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has been leading this effort after multiple deadly crashes involving illegal alien truck drivers. California admitted it illegally issued 17,000 non-domiciled commercial driver's licenses to dangerous foreign drivers. Trump's DOT is revoking every single one of them. But Democrats are fighting back. On November 11th, a pair of Democrat-appointed judges temporarily paused Trump's crackdown. They want to keep illegal alien truckers, including potential terrorists, on the road. Think about what this means. You are driving down the highway with your family. That semi next to you, under Biden's policies, it could be driven by someone who can't read English road signs. Or worse, someone who's wanted for terrorism in their own home country. Bozorov's Pennsylvania CDL was issued on July 25th, just 4 months ago. The license indicated he was living in the Somerton section of far northeast Philadelphia. ICE had to track him all the way to Kansas to arrest him on November 9th. This is the direct result of having a president who didn't believe in borders, didn't believe in vetting, and didn't believe in putting Americans first. Biden spent 4 years telling the world, come on in, we won't check too carefully. And terrorists? Well, they took him up on the offer. The mainstream media barely covered the Lafayette Hamas terrorist. They are barely covering this Uzbek terrorist truck driver because it exposes the catastrophic failure of Biden's border policies. But Trump's team isn't letting this slide. ICE is unleashed. They are tracking down these threats. They are arresting terrorists. They are protecting Americans. The question is, how many more terrorists did Biden let in that we just haven't found yet? 1. And finally, let's talk about how Democrat senator staff are actively working to undermine immigration enforcement. Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois just fired a staffer named Edward York, and the reason should really anger you. On October 29th, York walked into the ICE field office in St. Louis. He told federal officers that he was the attorney for a detained illegal immigrant named Jose Ismael Izuzo Sandoval. Probably got that wrong. He demanded to see his client. He got Jose to sign a G-28 form. That's an official Department of Homeland Security document that allows an attorney to represent someone on immigration matters. Here's the problem. Edward York is not a lawyer. He was a constituent outreach coordinator for Senator Duckworth's office. He committed fraud on official government documents to try to get this illegal alien released from ICE custody. And who was he trying to spring? Well, Jose, a 40-year-old Mexican national who had been deported to Mexico 4 times and had a DUI conviction. 4 deportations, a criminal record, and a Democrat senator staffer's falsified federal documents to try to free him. ICE Acting Director Todd Lyons sent a letter to Senator Duckworth on November 12th demanding answers. He gave her until Monday, November 17th, to respond to 8 questions, including whether York acted under her direction and authorization. Duckworth responded Monday. She claimed that neither I nor my leadership team was aware of, authorized, or directed what York did. She announced that York's employment was terminated effective November 17th. But here's what makes this even more suspicious. ICE found a social media post on the Montgomery County Democrats page that said a member of Duckworth's office went to the St. Louis field office with a packet of documents including a release order. The post added, he is going there without giving them knowledge he is on the senator's staff, meaning they thought ICE would be more cooperative if they didn't know York worked for a U.S. senator. So this wasn't just a rogue staffer. This was coordinated with local Democrats. They were actively strategizing about how to get this 4-time deported criminal released without ICE knowing he worked for a U.S. senator. Todd Lyons said in his letter that it appears as if Mr. York may have collaborated with the firm to cover his misrepresentation. York's attorney declined to comment. Duckworth's office didn't return calls for comment. They fired York and tried to move on as quickly as possible. Now, to be fair to Senator Duckworth, she had to fire this guy. There was no other option. He committed fraud on federal documents. But let's not pretend this is out of character for how Democrats view immigration enforcement. Duckworth has consistently opposed Trump's efforts to remove illegal aliens from the country. Just a few weeks ago, she was accusing Trump and ICE of making communities less safe by arresting foreign criminals. Let that sink in. She thinks arresting criminal illegal aliens makes us less safe. So when her staffer goes rogue and tries to free a 4-time deported criminal by falsifying federal documents, is anyone really surprised? This is what happens when you create a culture in your office that views ICE as the enemy instead of viewing illegal alien criminals as the problem. Congressional staffers are allowed to request help on behalf of someone without legal status. But the detainee has to grant permission for ICE to release information to them. York didn't go through the proper channels. He lied about being a lawyer and falsified documents. That's not advocacy, that's fraud. And it shows you exactly how far Democrats will go to protect illegal aliens, even criminals who've been deported 4 times. While Trump's administration is hunting down terrorists like the Uzbek trucker and the Hamas operative in Lafayette, Democrat senator staffers are committing fraud to spring criminals from ICE detention. That's the difference between the two parties right now. Republicans want to protect Americans. Democrats want to protect illegal alien criminals. Lyons ended his letter to Duckworth by saying, "It is my sincere hope that you will advocate on behalf of your constituents who have been victimized by illegal alien crime and work with DHS to remove these criminals from the United States." Spoiler alert, she won't. So there you have it, Patriots. 3 stories that show exactly what we're up against. Story 1. The FBI is fighting a 350-case war against an international predator network targeting children online, and the mainstream media won't tell parents about it. Story 2, Biden released a wanted terrorist into America, gave him work papers, and Pennsylvania gave him a CDL to drive an 18-wheeler. Just like the Hamas terrorist that he left in Lafayette, how many more are out there? And story 3, a Democrat senator's staffer committed fraud on federal documents to try to free a 4-time deported criminal illegal alien, and Democrats think ICE is the problem. The pattern is clear. We've got predators targeting our kids online, terrorists driving trucks on our highways, and Democrat staffers working to undermine the people trying to stop them. But here's the good news. Trump's team is unleashed. ICE is arresting terrorists. The FBI is taking down predators. And the American people are waking up to what's really going on. If you haven't already, follow me on X at O'Connor's Podcasts. Check out my other podcast, O'Connor's Right Stand, for deep dives on the issues that matter. We drop episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. And remember, if they are not talking about it, that means we need to. I'm John O'Connor. Stay informed, stay skeptical, and keep fighting for what's right. I will see you on Monday, Patriots.